Here I am on Taransay on a very cold November's morning. I'm sure I've got a red nose. It's been the most amazing, amazing, amazing year. And this is what's been going on over the last week.
It's now almost 11 months since the first castaways arrived on the remote Hebridean island of Taransay. During the early months, there was plenty of tension and conflict, followed by a summer of sad farewells and blossoming romance. But now, life has become more settled. Over the next few weeks, as they prepare to leave the island on January the 1st, we'll be revealing what's happening to the castaways now as they answer some of your questions and reflect on the latest events on Taransay. This week, there's a different sort of trouble brewing in the kitchen.
Hear that scrunching at the bottom? That's sand.
With a homebrew competition to be judged by 3 wise men.
We have been approached by people trying to bribe us, haven't we?
Quite a few, actually.
Yeah.
Lucky you, huh?
You haven't. No.
We take a peek inside the castaways' homes from home.
This is our bathroom here.
Here we have the bathtub.
The pièce de résistance, my bed. Which unfortunately I still sleep in alone, but never mind.
And Dr. Roger Stevenson oversees some fun and games in the showers.
I'll be a demon if they get it remotely wrong.
Sunrise on a November morning, and there's already signs of life as former postman Pat Murphy is finding it difficult to break the early morning habits of a lifetime.
Basically, I'm an early riser, so I just get up, write the essay, just so basically the essay's hot for people who come down on cooking duty.
While Pat fires up the stove and puts the kettle on, outside in the stables, the early shift of the milking team has swung into action. The cows are milked twice a day, morning and evening. Today, it's Porrick's turn to play milkman. Back in the steading, today's kitchen team are making their preparations ahead of the breakfast rush hour.
Morning. What's going on here?
Bread making.
Morning, Mikey.
Who's the best bread maker?
My bread's all right.
Jules. Patrick Murphy, otherwise known as the Taransay Master Baker.
And the only answer I can give to that is first prize.
The worst bread maker.
Jules.
No!
She's crap.
Only because she uses her own flour.
That still makes it the worst
Okay
bread.
then, Jules.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Jules.
Sorry, Jules.
I make Taransay's famous exploding bread. I don't know what I do, but I come in the morning and usually it's kind of gone.
The poor old chickens, thankfully they're not designed to fly, because if they tried flying after eating her bread, they wouldn't even get off the ground.
Well, everyone has a day when they produce a loaf that's like a brick. It just happens.
One thing there are no disagreements about is the freshness of the milk, which comes courtesy of the Taransay herd of 4 cows.
I don't even like what I used to like as milk in comparison to this. It's the real thing.
News has just arrived that the fortnightly supply boat that brings the post has been cancelled.
Ah! Is that because of weather? Yes, yeah. Yeah, that's really disappointing because we were expecting mail and, well, quite a bit of food as well. It's a shame, but we've been there before, so we'll get over it.
Have cheese on toast for breakfast, Daddy.
No, I want cheese.
With brown sauce on top of it.
I'll put brown sauce on top of you if you're not careful.
Earlier in the year, all meals were cooked communally, but the castaways have now agreed to get their own breakfast. However, the 4 members of each kitchen team have to plan for lunch and dinner.
You never really know until the day of your cooking exactly what you're going to have. And what you do is you grab Colin and you go, "Cool, is there any meat?"
That's not a lot for today, really. But all the pork in here now is for Christmas, so it has to be smoked, so we can't really use any more. We've got 2 more pigs left. One of them is going to be used for bartering, hopefully, for some Christmas goodies, and the other one we shall slaughter probably the week before Christmas.
I think it's going to be pork and cabbage, which will be delightful.
What do you think about the quality of food on the island?
Fantastic.
Golly, the food on Taransay is incredible.
This is the healthiest I have ever eaten in my life.
When I first came, I wasn't too enamoured with it, and I didn't really like all this green nonsense, leaves with every meal.
Somebody will come in and say, oh, what would you like from the fields today? And I'll say, oh, have you got any swedes? I'll have some swedes and carrots, and also some nice big onions, that would be good. And are there any courgettes left? Or peas, or, you know, whatever. And I'll order the vegetables, and somebody will go up and pick those.
Our vegetables have been absolutely fantastic, and you can just they taste so different. Like the carrots we had last night, they almost tasted like they had sugar in because they were so sweet.
We've had the freshest of milk, the freshest of meat, the freshest of vegetables, the freshest of air.
Early in December of this year, we will be judging the brewers of Taransay and the winemakers of Taransay to find out who can brew the best home brew on the island, and may the best man win.
Hear, hear.
Hear, hear.
Hear, hear.
Yeah. Drink to that.
Ever since their earliest days on Taransay, alcohol has been an important part of the castaways' life. Initially, they had supplies they brought with them, but as time has passed, the art of homebrew has become something of a castaway science.
Socially, it does seem important. You go around to people's pods for a drink in the evening. Special occasions, there's this element of, all right, we've got to make some alcohol ready for the party.
For social gatherings, for convivial evenings, for sitting out on the rock watching sunsets with friends, alcohol it's a great pleasure, and it's a great thing to be able to share.
It lifts our spirits. It's escapism here, and it brings people together. It's nice.
There are some days when you just feel so completely emotionally drained, I suppose. You just need to have a drink. That sounds like an alcoholic talking, but I'm certainly not an alcoholic.
I have been quite shocked at some of the capacities of the younger ones for booze.
I've drunk less here, much less than I would do at home.
There's been some weeks I've had a drink every night.
Perhaps at home I'd be having maybe a glass or 2 of wine each evening just to relax, but I don't do that at all here.
Our tolerance has decreased a great deal, and I dread to think what my performance would be like if I went out with my friends again.
Because this is such a hot house, this environment that we're in, if people do get drunk and start saying what they think, that can be very dangerous here.
Hey! Sit down! Sit down!
We haven't had any major problems since the early part of the year with alcohol, and long may that continue.
Here's for nettles.
Yeah.
Oh, please, Jules.
There's no shortage of entries for the Homebrew Challenge, and the kitchen is soon a hive of activity.
Now, the hardest thing about Solomon Grundy is opening the box.
Once you can open Grundy bitter, that's what you want.
Once you've opened the box, it's easy. There we go, problem sorted.
That's the kit, but we have such a sophisticated tin opener, I can't make it work. Oh.
It's a 7-day wine, and basically, if it's white, you put 3 bags of sugar in. If it's red, you put 4 bags in.
I won't go near it. Disgusting stuff.
How can you have a wine ready in 7 days, roughly, think?
I think it's, I've got no idea, I think it's something to do with the chemicals.
Yeah, I reckon.
Ugh, horrible, gives you a headache.
It is absolutely repulsive, but it does have the effect of polishing your teeth for you before you go to bed.
While most of the entries are kit-based brews, Trish is looking for a more natural flavour, and her search has taken her to one of Taransay's naturally occurring resources, not exactly known for its winemaking qualities.
It's a good chance it tastes like cider. I believe there's some cider getting brewed here.
This is about 8 weeks old, and I've still got about 4 bottles of this left, 4 2-litre bottles of cider. And this is really sparkling. I'm not going to turn the top to give you the taste. To give you the bubbles. In fact, should I? No, I'll do it on the day.
Oh, it smells absolutely fantastic. It smells so yummy.
Seaweed wine, which I'm not so sure about, Trish.
Look at that already. That's perfect seaweed. Perfect.
Don't tell me you're going to make a drink out of that.
No! Don't be silly, you silly man. You'll die.
I think you're after killing the judges.
It's going to win. It's a winner. Dad, you might as well take your cider out because it's a non-starter.
Seaweed wine. Big fat zero, I think.
You can hear that scrunching at the bottom? That's sand. And that's the secret ingredient.
Oh, don't worry. I know what that is now, and Roger can taste that one.
He's the trainee.
Yeah, he's the apprentice. We'll let him take first sips.
Chance of winning?
I don't know, it depends on the judges' tastes.
Peter and Sheila make a really yummy stout.
I don't think the alcoholic content will be enough for these judges here, but who knows? Depends on how sophisticated their palate is.
We'll have to be blindfold.
Well, I don't know about that. That's going a bit far, really.
Well, when someone's bringing a bottle in, until we shut the door, obviously we've got to look as though we're...
Right, you can say, Des, bring your bottle in. I'm just going to put the blindfold on.
Yeah.
This one is a surprise entry that is going to fox all the judges. They're not going to guess at all what this one is. Because this is one that Liz and I brought with us.
We have been approached by people trying to bribe us, haven't we?
Quite a few, actually.
Yeah.
Lucky you, I haven't.
You haven't?
No.
What's going to win? It depends who bungs the judges the most money. That's what will win.
Straight as a die. I don't know what Roger's like. Roger seems a bit bent to me sometimes. I used to think Tanya were a good brewer, but...
No,
she'll go down practicing enough.
No, she'll go down as the worst brewer on the island.
Yeah.
I mean, that nettle wine stung on the way in and on the way out.
I can't believe the criticism that my nettle wine has been getting. I think it's completely outrageous and unfounded.
Tanya's nettle wine.
The nettle wine.
Bit worried about poisoning Colin and Pat.
I've had some crap drinks in my time, but that was utterly vile.
Oh. That's a bit off.
All in all, to be honest, everything on this island that home brewed tastes diabolical.
It's almost lunchtime, and although not everyone on the kitchen team has a talent for cooking, everyone does their bit.
The washer-uppers here. Everything under control, girls.
That is the most demon washer-upper. You put anything down, like a spoon, turn your back and go back for that spoon to finish what you're doing. It's gone. It's just like a poltergeist of the kitchen, and it's washed it out.
I love it.
What is the best thing about the kitchen?
Trish.
Best thing about kitchen duty is you get to hear music.
You have the stereo.
Best thing about kitchen duty, whacking the tunes up, dancing around the room like loonies, throwing things around. You can have really good fun if you're in the right team.
You're a sex bomb. You can give it to me when I need to come along. Give it sex bomb, sex bomb. You're my sex bomb. And baby, you can turn me on. Baby, you can turn me on. You know what you're doing to me, don't you?
Worst thing about the kitchen
is that it happens. Is when you're on it, in fact.
Oh, you're just knackered at the end of it.
Saying ta to Trish after the kitchen duty.
The kitchen is the place to be because
It all happens.
if it happens anywhere, it's in the steading and it's in the kitchen. And if it kicks off on your day, you're in the thick of it.
This is my favourite lunch of all the kitchen teams. It looks absolutely wonderful. Baked potato, beans, and cheese on top. You can't beat it. Thank you, guys.
He could be very biased.
Who's the best cook?
Me.
Obviously, I think Sheila, my wife.
I think anything that Sheila cooks is just wonderful. Oh, Sheila does something incredible to pork.
Oh, it's beautiful. Coated with sesame seeds and a beautiful sticky marinade. Oh, it's gorgeous.
Dare I say it's like a culinary orgasm.
What is the best meal you have had?
One I kept down for 3 hours.
The
best meal I can remember was yesterday. Cheese on toast with brown sauce, HP sauce.
What is the worst meal you've had on the island?
What about pears in them?
Some wild pumpkin concoction that the vegetarian team made, which was absolutely putrid.
This greasy, strangely curried cauliflower, which is vile.
It's the first time I've had to spit food out.
With gale force winds and driving rain, the 4 accommodation pods are an important part of Castaway life. Identical on the outside, they are unique on the inside as each of the castaways has turned their limited space into a home away from home.
This is the front of our pod looking east, and in the mornings this is the most amazing view, the sun rising over Clisham Mountains, which are on Harris.
Here we have the most wonderful views across the Sound of Taransay towards Harris, and this is where my residence is situated.
I live next door to Trish, who's through that in the Villa de la Preta. And on the other side of me we have Pat and Gwyn and Mike. Used to be the Careys, but they've gone now.
Welcome to Pod 4. This is my new abode and has been for about the last 6 or 8 weeks.
Hello. I'm going to show you around my pod, which is the back of Pod 1. I share next to Philly. I've got Porrig on the other side, and Tammy and Toby and Tanya.
The first thing you notice is a lovely little bell there.
One of the things is when I was deciding which pod I wanted, I had to decide whether I wanted a view or whether I wanted it to be the people that I shared with. And in the end, I decided that it would be the people that I share with. So my view over there isn't quite as good as everyone else has.
We think Pod 3's got the best view of all. We look right out to the south west, down between what's called Towhead and the south end of the island. And we just see, today's not a particularly exciting day, but we just see incredible sunset after sunset. And Sheila, I mean, if you look on the wall, I mean, she paints the same scene almost, and does, you know, different types of sky on different days.
And there's lots of original Taransay art in this room. This was something that was made by Warren for Colin's birthday, and this whole room comes complete with original Taransay art.
Downstairs, I've got a living room over here. It's very practical. I've got little stools underneath and I can quite comfortably sit 6 or 8 people, including myself.
The dining table, cleverly constructed from an old cable drum, cut down and put on a base of old bed slats.
Who's got the best pod room and why?
Well, I've got a cracking pod room.
Toby, because he does the brewing there.
Peter and Sheila's pod room, I love.
The best pod room we have. Up above is where we keep our washing gear. This is our bathroom here.
Here we have the bathtub, also known as a washing up bowl, absolutely vital, and the loo, facilities particularly recommended by Her Majesty's prisons. Make sure you check the direction of the wind before you empty your bucket.
The worst thing about the pod rooms...
You haven't got any sanitation, no water, no proper toilet, so you have to slop out.
The lack of privacy pretty much has to be the worst thing. What's the worst thing about your pod room?
Don't know, I haven't seen it for a month.
We have wonderful drying facilities here. Washing can be a problem sometimes, particularly in the winter. But here we have a wonderful range of lines, etc. for drying clothes. With the stove going, the stuff is dry overnight.
Over in the corner, books, most of which have been read now. So we're actually on a sort of swapping thing now. So we go from pod to pod and everyone comes around and occasionally knocks on the door and says, "Ben, can I have a look at your bookshelf to see what books you've got?" And I do the same.
Lots of books, but a lot of books aren't here at the moment because we've got a reading club, sort of very obsessive group of about 9 readers on the island, and the books circulate around and we sort of discuss them, you know, informally and so on and so forth, and that's been really interesting.
Over on this side, over here, we've got some of the post which we get. The rest of it is actually in my crate right now. I sort of didn't know quite what to do with it at first because, well, from getting about 1 letter every week or so at home, suddenly it kind of increased quite a lot now.
The mirror came with me from Tarbert, but the frame was not really to my choosing. And when I found these wonderful bits of driftwood on Boy Beach, I thought, aha, they'll do.
A very interesting thing about this pod is the number of hats we have hanging up here, and every hat has a story, which we really don't have time to go into. But I wear hats a lot, and when I did my degree late in life, I was known as the hat lady because I always had a hat on. And so it's no different on Taransay.
Over here, we've got my black dog, who isn't actually one of the fixtures. I brought her with me.
Dog treats kept on upper level because Floozy can't climb.
But I mean, one of the interesting things here is how it is a very small space. It's probably, 10 foot square by about 10, 12 foot high. It's a funny sort of shapes, but like a lump of cheese, I always think. We've had to learn to be incredibly tidy, really, which is remarkable for Sheila.
We cook up snacks for our friends at night, you know, things like, what did we have last night, darling?
Noodles.
What was it? Noodles, which we unfortunately had to eat with watercolour pencils because we didn't have any chopsticks. But, you know, needs must, this is Taransay.
We have a nice little stove here, which is more than adequate for heating the room in the chilly weather.
You put your nose out of the bed covers and you think, oh, it's cold, it's cold, it's cold.
The fire, which I'm sure other people have shown you as well, which is a real pain sometimes, but I'll show you. I use a pair of pliers to open it, and in fact, I've somehow managed to get mine going, and using a spoon that I borrowed from the kitchen, which no one knows, but never mind. Where all the spoons have gone.
What is the best thing about your pod?
Slopey roof. I love my slopey roof.
Big window, and when it's tearing down with all sorts of weather outside, you can just sit in there with your stove on, nice and cosy, and just watch the weather tear past, and that's been brilliant.
In line to keep the room warm, we've insulated the whole of the ceiling with apple boxes. Gives that little bit of extra thermal heat, and also cuts down the sound of screams and that sort of thing going on.
Sometimes a sort of thumping starts in this pod and you think, oh God, somebody next door's up to rumpety-tumpety or something, and in fact it's the, whoever it is, it's the sheep are underneath banging away.
The pièce de résistance, my bed. Which unfortunately I still sleep in alone, but never mind.
Here we are in the bedroom area, snug, warm and toasty, fire downstairs, living room area, Harris Street furnishings on the bed, moving up towards the Sistine Chapel, which has kept me amused and entertained in cold months recently.
I don't think my attitude towards my living space has changed. I think it has it's just been confirmed what I need in my life, which is space, quiet, and privacy. The basics.
We've really enjoyed living in a small space. I mean, we've got loads of room at home, and we're going to be rattling around when we get back. And this is very, very pleasant to live in this, and it's a very small space. Yeah,
it's been amazing. We've coped with each other in such a small place.
Yeah. I mean, we've had an incredible amount of time with each other, and which is fantastic.
I love my pod, and I'll be quite sorry to leave it, because it's amazing how much you can fit into a very, very small space. I've got a house, of course, that's bigger than this, but I really wonder why we all need so much room. It'll be nice to have it, but you can actually live in a much, much smaller space.
Tuesday night, choir practice in the schoolhouse and rehearsals begin for the Castaways' contribution to the Children in Need appeal. Music by ABBA, piano by Roger, words by Porrig.
1, 2, 3, 4. We milk the cows at dawn so we can drink our tea. And built a compost loos where we've all pooed and peed.
So that's a difficult one. And built the compost loo. I know it sounds silly and unnatural, but believe me, when you're watching it and listening to it, it sounds normal.
At night we play night games and sip on homemade booze. And when the windmill's turning fast, the shower's hot as hell. Our socks are fungal growth and all our armpits smell. We're mad for letters, parcels, even better, SOS. We're alone, and we're happy to live with no phones. We're at home.
Bravo!
My favourite lines are, and built the compost loo where we've all pooed and peed. Thank you for that, Porrick.
It's great, it's very exciting. New words, so we've sort of got to grips with the tune, but just applying Porrick's new words to the tune, and it's going very well, yeah. Everybody's in tune, their diction is improving, and it's going to be great, I'm sure.
More of us are happy to sing that. All about the compost loos and pooing and peeing and smelling and fungal growth and all the rest of it, which is Sandy's line, which is great. It's a laugh, and it's something fun to do for children in need. And, we just hope it goes well.
Having mastered the song, it's time to work on the video.
At night we play my games and sip on homemade booze.
And when the wind was turning fast, the showers hot as hell, we give the pigs their swill, 'cause they're our fault to be.
But when the post comes, nothing ever gets done. SOS. We're mad for letters, parcels, even better. SOS. We're alone, and we're happy to live with no phone.
Back in the schoolhouse, it's time to record the final version of the song.
The culmination of all the hard work, yeah. Although there's been a lot of hard work already, hasn't there, out in the field and by the windmill, etc. Oh, it's got to be just so tonight, and I'll be a demon if they get it remotely wrong. Stern rebukes.
While the castaways are under pressure, it's the visiting cameraman who feels the heat from a burning candle.
Oh my God. I can now see even better. I know that for years.
And this is the final version.
We milk the cows at dawn so we can drink our tea. We give the pigs their swill 'cause they're our pork to be. We've run all our vegetables, from cucumbers to sweets, and built the compost loos where we've all pooed and peed. And when the windmill's turning fast, the shower's hot as hell, our socks are fungal growth and all our armpits smell. How quick the time goes past, it's like the wind blows. SOS. I know we leave here, it's been great to be here. SOS. We're alone, living here for the year on our own.
3 cheers for the choir! Hip it! Hooray! Hip it! Hooray! Hip it! Hooray!
So what are the next 7 days on the island likely to hold?
How long does it normally take before it starts glugging? Glug, damn your glug!
There's a cube.
By the morning, I think they'll have a calf.
Hey, strange things happen on this island.